Good morning, guys. I hope you're in for a great day today. We're in Mark chapter 14. This has to be one of the lowest, saddest, most miserable stories that you will read in the scriptures, and there are plenty of those. But we come now to Mark chapter 14. I want to read to you from verse 43. Listen to the sadness of this moment. Just as he was speaking, this is Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. The people had come up the hill, they had surrounded him. And as Jesus was speaking, Judas, one of Jesus's disciples, one of his friends, somebody who Jesus had been walking with, talking with, teaching, doing miracles, watching life go by together with his friends, eating with them, ministering with them. One of the 12, Judas, appeared. The crowd, armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priest, the religious guys of the day, the people who should have known best. They're the ones that should have read the scriptures and know that the Messiah would come riding on a donkey, that they don't need to look for a great military leader. But this was Jesus, the one prophesied about. The chief priest should have known that. The teachers of the law and the elders, these are the ones who came, and they were angry with Jesus. And now the betrayer, verse 44, had arranged a signal with them. Talk about conspiring with the lowest of the low. This is talking with the rats, man. And he came and he had a signal arranged with them. The one I kiss is the man. Why did he need to kiss him? The one I kiss is the man. They all knew who Jesus was. Why do they now need this identity of Jesus with a kiss? He had taught in the temple. He had been there. He had been in the community from a child. They knew who he was. And yet Judas went out there and betrayed him with a kiss. The one I kiss, he's the man. Arrest him and lead him away under guard. Why would he suggest that? That's the dumbest idea ever. Why would Jesus need a battery of soldiers to walk with him and to tie him and to chain him up? Here was the man, the meekest man who ever lived, one who never hurt anybody, somebody who just lived out the perfect life of being God on earth. And he was told he told these guys to lead him away under guard. That's crazy, man. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Rabbi," and he kissed him. Rabbi is a term of deep endearment. It's a term of great respect. And the kiss is the kiss of feigned affection in this case, but it should have been a kiss of deep affection for a teacher, somebody who's held in high regard by the community, somebody who's loved, somebody who's deeply respected. And he uses that kiss to betray the Son of God. The men seized Jesus and they arrested him. Then one of those standing near drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. This was probably Peter, and Peter tried to fix the situation. Peter's always trying to fix stuff. "Am I leading a rebellion," said Jesus, "that you come out with swords and clubs to capture me?" He's really stating the obvious here, isn't he? He's saying, "But I've been in your community. Every day I was with you, teaching in the temple courts. You didn't arrest me." But the scripture has to be fulfilled. Here he is, throwing himself again at the feet of the sovereignty and the sovereign will of God. The scripture has to be fulfilled. Then everyone deserted him and fled. At the time that Jesus needed them the most, nobody was there. Oh, Peter tried something. I guess I quite take my hat off to Peter for trying something. He had to do something. He'd made all those great promises and acknowledgments. But Jesus said, "Put away your sword." We read in the other Gospels how he reached out and he healed the man's ear. But can you understand the craziness of this situation? Here's this beautiful man, lived a perfect life. Oh, he's offended a few people with his teachings, but they took him subject to the will of God. There it is again. Arrested him, and they took him away. All his disciples ran from him. Now, It's this kiss of Judas that really offends me. You know, if he'd stood in the crowd and said, hey, we all know he is, there he is over there, go get him. You know, it would have been one thing. But to reach out and feign affection and kiss him with an act that should have been an act of deep respect, how sad is that? How low can we go? Now, let's turn our attention to Jesus. Here's Jesus having to face one of the most tragic situations of life, betrayal. I wonder if you've ever been betrayed. Betrayed by a business partner, betrayed by a child, betrayed by a marriage or a spouse or a friend, and you would only understand a slight fraction of the betrayal that Jesus was going through. Here was somebody who he knew so well, somebody who was meant to be his friend, had now betrayed him to death. Oh, we may get betrayed for a few little things. We may get betrayed for moral issues. That's tragic. I take nothing away from the tragicness of that. We may get betrayed a few rand or a few dollars or something like that. You're going to make it up again. Don't get sweat too much about that stuff. But betrayal, the emotion of that betrayal is huge. Again, Jesus turned all of this over to the will of God. Remember we spoke yesterday about the ways that we can say the will of God? Well, let's practice it today. Let's practice that today in our own life, in the betrayals that we feel, whether they be personal, whether they be corporate, whether they be in family, whether they be in churches. I don't know where it is. Morally, I don't know. But let's practice what Jesus did that day. Subject that, cover that with the amazingness of the sovereignty of the will of God. This is not a cop-out. You do this and watch what happens to your heart and watch what happens in the future. You handle betrayal well, people, and watch what God is going to do in you and through you in the days to come. My prayer goes out to you guys who have experienced betrayal today, but I pray our response will be a good one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.